A big revelation in the Gyanvapi Mosque Kashi temple case as Varanasi court now hears the matter on conducting a survey of the mosque complex. India Today has now spoken to the videographer who actually saw what is at that disputed site. The videographer speaking exclusively to India Today, has in fact revealed that he saw some Hindu imagery and symbols on that mosque wall. The videographer says that Lord Brahma's lotus flower, gongs, bells can all be seen on that mosque wall. India Today has also accessed some exclusive images that shows Shiva's Nandi, the bull, and the row of flowers right aligned within that mosque. There's been a big showdown on the survey of Gyanvapi Mosque, with the mosque panel blocking attempts of the court-appointed committee to, in fact, videograph inside that complex, citing the Places of Worship Act 1991. The mosque panel alleges that the commissioner is biased and also have been, of course, batting for the Public Places of Worship Act 1991, which says any religious places post-independence must retain its structure.
ज्ञानवापी परिसर में बने श्रृंगार गौरी स्थल को लेकर लगातार कोर्ट की तरफ से सुनवाई चल रही है। आखिर सर्वे के दिन क्या हुआ, अंदर वो क्या क्या चीजें थीं जो सर्वे टीम को दिखाई पड़ी, इस पर ज्यादा जानकारी देने के लिए हमारे साथ इस वक्त जो मौजूद हैं वो विभाष दुबे हैं। ये वही वीडियोग्राफर हैं जो उस दिन सर्वे के दौरान अंदर मौजूद थे जहां पर मस्जिद के अंदर जाने से रोका गया। विभाष, आपका बहुत स्वागत है। विभाष, सबसे पहले तो मुझे बताइए कि कहानी की शुरुआत कहाँ से होती है?
स्टार्टिंग में जब एंटर किया तो लगा कि यार सब कुछ अच्छा है, लेकिन कुछ देर बाद जब दोनों पक्ष, हिंदू पक्ष, मुस्लिम पक्ष के जो भी लोग थे, वादी प्रतिवादी, वो सब इकट्ठा होना शुरू किया तो थोड़ा सा माहौल जो है लगा कि घमाघमी का हो सकता है। गणेश शर्मा जो थे वो शिलापट पे जो चीजें बनी हुई थी, जो श्रृंखलाएं बनी हुई थी, जो माला की लड़ियां बनी हुई थी तोरण द्वार के, ऐसा महसूस होता था जैसे तोरण द्वार पे जो चीजें कटिंग बनी होती है वो सारी चीजें वहां दिख रही थी। इवन यही नहीं, जो शिलापट वहां रखे गए थे उसके नीचे वाले भाग में भी कुछ चीजें ऐसी समझ में आई कि वहां पे भी कुछ बना हुआ है।
शिलापट किसका, मस्जिद के एरिया में या श्रृंगार गौरी के?
श्रृंगार गौरी वाले एरिया में।
क्या दिखा आपको?
उसमें जब नीचे झांक के देख रहे हैं तो वहां पे भी कमल बने दिख रहे हैं, कमल बने हैं। बाकी सारे मतलब वो सारी चीजें दिख रही हैं जो एक हिंदू सभ्यता में यूज होता है।
ब्रह्मा जी का
हाँ, जो चिन्ह दिखाई देते हैं, जो जनरली ज्यादातर हिंदू धर्म में इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं।
क्या क्या देखा? कमल आपने देखा, उसके अलावा?
कमल देखा और फूलों की लड़ियां देखी जो फूल ऐसे बने होते हैं, और ठीक सामने वाली दीवार पे अंदर की तरफ घंटा भी टंगा हुआ है जो तराश के बनाया गया है, जो पूरी तरह से तराश के बनाया गया हुआ है। उसकी चैन दिख रही है, पूरी चैन लटक रही है, फिर नीचे घंटा बना हुआ दिख रहा है, फिर उसके बगल कलाकृतियां बनी हुई हैं जो ये महसूस होती हैं या जो लगती हैं कि हाँ हिंदू संस्कृति से जुड़ी हुई चीज।
घंटा किस तरफ, श्रृंगार गौरी स्थल की तरफ है या मस्जिद की तरफ है?
मस्जिद की दीवार पे,
मतलब जहाँ पे
पश्चिम वाली दीवार पे,
जहाँ एंट्री है, जहाँ नहीं है?
नहीं, जहाँ एंट्री नहीं है। वो किसी शरारती तत्व द्वारा बनाया गया चीज नहीं दिखता है, ये तो साफ समझ में आता है। कोई कलाकार बनाया है ये दिखता है, उसमें कलाकारी दिखती है। ऐसा नहीं कि कोई गया और खुरेज के बना दिया तो आप मान लो कि नहीं, उसमें कलाकृति दिखती है।
All right, now we've heard those revelations coming in from the videographer who says he's seen extensive symbols connecting to the Hindu religion. Let me cut across to Gaurav Sawant, who's been tracking those developments coming in from the Gyanvapi Mosque hearing. Gaurav, you know, the court in Uttar Pradesh had initiated a survey to try and investigate what was the religious significance for Hindus within that Gyanvapi Mosque. And after much resistance, it seems like a videographer has managed to get some of those images that really show some crucial evidence. There shows several symbols that are quite symbolic and sentimental to the Hindus. And from what we see here, those images now will become huge evidence in case while the court hears this matter.
So it is for the court to interpret, but what did the videographers see? India Today gets you exclusive images of what was shot by the videographer. And what does the videographer say? Take a look at these images. A very clear swastika sign. A swastika is a very holy Hindu symbol. What do you also see? Nandi the bull. Bhagwan Shiv's ride Nandi the bull. There you see the bell, the flowers. Now bell, gong, rows of flowers on this wall. What does this indicate? And then this is for interpretation to be done by courts of law and for learned people. But as far as the Hindu Paksha, the Hindu side is concerned, their claim has always been that here was a temple. That temple was demolished on the instructions of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb, and a mosque was constructed on top of a temple. That's their contention, and they want unhindered access to pray here at this temple. So a hooded Sheshnag of Lord Vishnu. These are, and none of this, as the videographer told India Today's Samarth Srivastav, none of this was done in a hurry. These appear to have been carved centuries ago, a long time ago. Now it's for the court to interpret what this means and whether Hindus should get unhindered access to this place to worship 365 days a year.
Right. You know, Gaurav, what we do know is that there were several years ago, even Hindus were worshipping alongside those regions. In fact, that you highlighted, these images that you see here, Hindus were extensively carrying out pujas and prayers along that area, those areas, which has those Hindu religious symbols. But at one point, it was locked up. At whose behest was it locked up? Why were Hindus denied to carry out worship along those areas beside the mosque itself? Samarth Srivastava probably to give us an understanding on that. Samarth, give us a little bit of an insight into the history of this Gyanvapi Mosque, which is aligned with the temple as well. One part of the mosque has extensive Hindu religious symbols, and the other side is a mosque. We do know that people were praying alongside. You had the Hindus praying by the Hindu side. You had the Muslims praying at the mosque. But at one point, they shut off doors for Hindus to worship on that in that region. What really happened?
Actually, I want to tell you that this issue is not new. The conflict is on since years, because when you see about the Nandi face, it was with the mosque part, because the Nandi's face always, whenever you see in entire India, wherever there is Nandi in particular temple, he's obviously faced towards one of the Jyotirlings or the Shivling. And the same was the case in that particular area where Gyanvapi was present.
Right.
Because Nandi was faced towards the side of mosque, and that is what historians and various religious leaders kept on saying, that this is the perfect example of saying that there is a Jyotirling in that particular area. Though it's a topic of discussion, but what is concrete is the survey work which was on by the court, and I am present at the local court where shortly hearing will start in that particular matter.
All right, so we're looking forward to see how the hearing is conducted and what the court would observe on that. But stay with us, Samarth. We have Ratan Sharda, who's an RSS ideologue, joining us on the phone line for more on that. Mr. Sharda, here is the court that's all set to hear the Gyanvapi Mosque case. We're looking at revelations coming in from the videographer that shows images of large-scale Hindu symbols that are aligned on the wall right behind the mosque. This is a telling story. We know that there were Hindus that were carrying out worship along that region, but at one point they were cordoned off and that area was itself closed away. What is your plea as this matters in court?
See, I do not know why there is surprise element in what has been found in the mosque, because this particular mosque being destroyed by Aurangzeb is historical evidence from the Islamic sources itself. Like the other person was talking about Nandi facing the mosque, which means that there was a Shivling inside, because Nandi always faces the Shivling. And even any child will see the photograph of the mosque, will find the structure below is typically Hindu, and on the top there is very artificially put up dome which has no relation to the actual mosque. This is the scenario all over India. So I don't think there should be any element of surprise when you find lotus or any other gods, etc. If you go to the basement, you will find many more such evidences. Point is, in 1992, there is worship going on outside the mosque, which has been stopped now, and women want that right to worship that Shringar Gauri and Ganpati and other gods, and it has been done so far. So issue is whether Muslim community will like to cooperate and see to it that these small ill wills can be removed and they can live happily, or they want to create friction which will keep like a thorn in the flesh for Hindus when they look at that particular mosque, which was clearly the original temple.
Right.
So I'm not really surprised. We are just creating artificial friction where none exists. There's not even a Muslim-Hindu question, because it is an issue of invaders who actually created this problem. Why should we be identifying our Muslims with those invaders?
You know,
Because
Mr.
we want to-
Sharda, this, you know, as you say, there is no surprise element, but nonetheless, there was much resistance to carry out the survey itself. And from the images that we see here, these images are from the outside of the mosque, which is visible to public eye. It was just cordoned off by the mosque committee. But at this point, it seems like they're forced to reveal what's inside. In fact, Gaurav has highlighted all those religious symbols, Hindu religious symbols that are aligned all over the mosque. Gaurav, at this point, Mr. Sharda says there's really nothing surprising to it.
Mr. Sharda, what is the prayer of the Hindu Paksh, and is it restricted, in your appreciation, sir, just to the Gyanvapi Mosque, or is it Mathura, Kashi, after Ayodhya? Is it your prayer that there should be a Divya Bhavya temple even here, first at Kashi and then at Mathura, sir?
See, as you know, I think it is Gaurav who is speaking. I can't see. I'm on
Yes,
phone.
yes, that's him.
If you see the Hindu community is very awakened now. They feel that they have been shortchanged by all the historians, all the governments, and that most sacred sites have been taken over, and with no recourse to law by this Places of Worship Act. That time government has really sealed the fate of so many temples which are so sacred to Hindus, which have been sealed off for Hindus. So any Hindu will stand up, will go to the court, you can't stop it. If you see, these are not organized movements, these are small groups, individuals are going to the courts. And I think that shows that Hindus are awakened now. They don't want to be treated like this, not as second-class citizens where their own place of worship they can't own up. And they have been told that everything is hunky-dory. All this so-called Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb, where only one person is supposed to sacrifice their rights for the good of the society, and every other person can take laws into their own hands.
Sir, does that indicate, if I may, Ratan Sharda ji, does that indicate that the Places of Worship Act needs to be re-looked at, and perhaps Parliament needs to bring a new act?
Surely. I would be very happy if that is looked into. See, ultimately, these are civilizational issues. There has to be a Truth and Reconciliation Commission where all these historical evidences, all these issues are brought up faced very upfront, honestly and brutally, so that there can be reconciliation. There will be reconciliation around the world between communities where they've been persecuted, they have been pillaged like Native Americans or blacks, and even a fight between the France and British. They have resolved their problems, they are facing the truth. We don't want to face the truth. We want to put mandate on cancerous wounds that our civilization has faced. That is the problem. To deny the Holocaust of Hindus, to deny the atrocities on Hindus, saying that Aurangzeb bada acha tha, topi sil ke ghar chalata tha, this kind of myth has to go. We can't treat myths as history, and we can't treat history as myths.
But does it remain restricted to Ayodhya, Mathura and Kashi, or Mathura and Kashi after Ayodhya, or does this need to be more widespread, sir?
If you look at the original demand of the Hindus when Ram Mandir movement started, they said these three sacred temples, if they are handed over to Hindus peacefully, happily, they will reconcile to it, and there will be no disputes because there is an issue of goodwill. But somehow the Maulanas and Maulvis and the extremist elements who were instigated by Marxist historians, the so-called eminent historians who produced all the wrong evidence, to stop the actual discussion of the matter. Now we are in a situation where Hindus feel shortchanged, and that's exactly what is happening. When 80% population is not given any right in the name of some laws, and we are all given false history in the name of history, then definitely there will be some reaction, some kind of response where the society which is felt that they have not got justice, they have not been listened to, they have not been actually, that persecution is not taken seriously, that Holocaust is treated shabbily, then naturally there's somebody or other will keep on raising demand.
Right. Gaurav, of course, what we know is that right now at this moment, the court is going to be hearing this matter. It appears those images that you described to us that has large-scale Hindu religious symbols on that wall right behind the mosque will now be crucial evidence in court. But how will the court really progress with this case, considering, like you mentioned, there is the Places of Worship Act of 1991 that really clearly states that any religious structure after independence must retain its shape at this point. It's going to be interesting. India Today continues to keep the spotlight on this matter. But in fact, our channel has also spoken to a bunch of petitioners in this case. Vishnu Shankar Jain, who spoke to us. Let's have a listen what he had to say.
The foundation of this argument is that no new structure has been constructed to make this mosque. There was already a pre-existing Hindu temple and which has been converted, which has been given a shape of the present disputed structure. No new structure has been created. And to buttress that argument, to prove that point, we can find the goddess Ma Shringar Gauri on the western side of the disputed structure. We can find Lord Ganesh on the western side of the disputed structure, and the entire western wall of the disputed structure is the wall on which the present tomb is standing. So all these arguments will be advanced further. But prima facie, what survey we have done of all the surroundings of the mosque, it shows clinchingly that no new structure has been created, and on a pre-existing structure, a shape of a mosque has been given.
All right, well, we heard the petitioner speaking on this case. We are looking at the hearing that's just begun in court. I'm going to cut across to Samar Srivastava. Of course, Gaurav Sawant remains with us. Gaurav, the hearing has just begun. Samarth, who's right there at court, is tracking those developments. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the court will take this entire matter forward, considering it's a sentimental issue. We're talking about the Hindus and the Muslims and their religious places of worship.
So, as far as the court is concerned, court will strictly go as per evidence on ground. Court does not deal with sentiments. But let me take this to Samarth Srivastav with us on the broadcast. Samarth, what next in court? Was the videography completely peaceful? Is another phase likely to happen? What next in court, Samarth?
See, Gaurav, there are two important points which may be heard today in the court, because number one is the role of advocate commissioner. The Muslim side kept on saying that advocate commissioner is partial towards one political party or towards one particular side. Obviously, he was hinting towards the Hindu side. Though Hindu side is claiming that advocate commissioner has remained impartial, and this is what advocate commissioner has also given in written and has also said already to the judge, that I have remained impartial, but this is the final call by the local court. Number two, the another important thing which could be heard today is the date of survey. Apart from that, as Muslim side has also objected, like the Hindu side has said that they have to enter inside the mosque, they have to break the locks to enter inside that particular tehkana, to which the Muslim side objected yesterday. And today is the day when court will hear that objection, whether they'll allow the Hindu side to enter inside the mosque or not. Another thing to be noted here in this particular case, Gaurav, is that both the sides have agreed to the fact that the local court or the judge should remain present during the survey. This is something accepted by the Muslim side and Hindu side as well. And after that, the judge of that particular local court yesterday said that if there could be a possibility like that, this may happen, where a judge could also be present in the survey time when it will take place in the premises of Gyanvapi and Shringar Gauri Sthal. So this is going to happen, but today is a crucial day for the advocate commissioner, whether he'll stay or some new face will come in. Number two, it is the date of survey. What will be the date of survey? This will also be decided in the hearing today, Gaurav.
All right. Well, here's some big breaking news coming in at this point. The hearing on Gyanvapi Mosque survey resumes. The Varanasi court now to decide on a new date for mosque complex survey. The mosque survey was blocked over the weekend as the Muslim side protested, quoting the Public Places of Worship Act 1991, which does not allow for videography or even for that matter to touch places of worship, anything that stood post-independence. Here we're looking at the court now that's just resumed hearing on the Gyanvapi Mosque controversy. The survey that has just been carried out, a videography that was taken, that took place, shows some really incriminating visuals that really shows several symbols connected to the Hindu religion aligned on that wall right behind the mosque. The hearing has begun. Now the court to decide on a new date for the mosque complex survey. The survey has to be carried out extensively. In fact, there has been much resistance from the Muslim committee there who's managing that mosque to carry out a survey inside the mosque premises, to carry out videography inside the mosque premises. And now the court, while it hears the matter, will likely decide on the next date of this survey that should ideally be carried out. Gaurav, we know that there's been much resistance to carry out videography inside the mosque complex. They've been citing several laws and resisting videography at all inside the mosque premises. At this point, the court, of course, wanting to know what's the significance of the demands coming in from many of those Hindu petitioners, citing that there is Hindu religious significance inside this mosque. According to you, how important is this survey to establish that?
So once the court decides that a survey is to be carried out, every Indian citizen has to abide by court's orders and rulings. The resistance amounts to contempt of court, and a court will take an appropriate view on it should contempt of court proceedings be initiated. But as of now, there are two aspects which are extremely critical. One, the Muslim side had opposed the appointment of the court-appointed survey commissioner. They had questioned the impartiality of the individual. The Hindu side and the individual court-appointed official said they're completely impartial, but now it's for the court to take a view. The court is also to take a view on the next date of a survey where both Hindus and Muslims are open to the idea of the learned judge himself being there when a survey is carried out.
All right, Gaurav, thank you very much for joining us with those details. This is, of course, going to be very closely watched verdict. The mosque, in fact, the court now going to be hearing the matter on how a survey will be carried out and when